A game. A lonely poet I had been for a long time, floating on a lily-covered lake, a piece by Monet. The mushy colors, how pretty they all looked, green, blue, and purple. I dove into the painted, moved the oils aside, and swallowed the paint, thick between my teeth. A lonely poet I am, carrying a suitcase of emotion on my back. Well, I can be quiet now. Fire is the destroyer and the protector. This pen, this paper is like a bridge. My mind is a dream, and this makes it real. Then I know I'm not crazy. Once for the poker player, twice for the master. His darling snake slithers its way along the hall. Darling hell, you there sitting in the booth, with old coffee and an old wig. Wig and wig. Well, that was called A Game, and basically just a free flow form of ideas. Anything I'm writing and reading out of this book, a lot of times I don't even look at it again for a little while, so take that and know that it's not what it will finally be. Anyway, I know a big question people are super into is that I keep, coming across is, do you prefer handwriting or typing? And it's such a simple question, but it's one that I see often enough. So the question is, do I prefer handwriting, typing digitally, or in this case now, audible work, recording something and perhaps elaborating on it later, which I really like. I never thought about it before, but I really like listening to myself. I mean, I don't like listening to myself when I hear it back, but listening to myself through the headphones, I kind of like it. So I could see actually adding recording to a form of creativity and ultimately editing. My first love, of course, is handwriting. When I was, like 10, I really wanted a fountain pen, the feather pen with ink and for Christmas. So I've kind of have had an affinity for those devices, and I'll always be writing stuff paper. Like, there's nothing like ink coming out of your pen and seeing letters and lines form on the paper and having that be an idea. And it's got to be the right everything. It's got to be the right book. It's got to be the right pen. But there's just something about like the leather and the clean paper and the scribbled lines, and you can almost feel some of the ink sometimes, the way it sits raised on the paper. Those are where the ideas come out. But my best work, I would say, is probably done on the computer. I definitely edit way better on the computer, and I do have several pieces of work that I've started and completed entirely on the computer. And I don't know why, but for whatever reason, those feel, I guess, more complete. They just feel better. Maybe it's less of a rambling idea. Like the paper with the pen can feel so frantic because you can't write as quickly as you can type, and sometimes your ideas can get convoluted and lost in the pen. But with the typing, your fingers are just going, and you can get it all out. And there's something very crafty about tweaking the words and the sentences and making all that cohesive and come together. And now that I'm doing these little poetry readings, there's something very antique about spoken word and listening to somebody speak about their art and their creativity and receive that through your own ears and process that rather than through your eyes or reading a screen or a book. there's something much more fleeting about the audible thing of it. And that's an interesting idea and something I would like to practice more, I guess, is just the rambling of ideas just to say them. Because I could see maybe not necessarily going back and listening word for word, but maybe talking it out with yourself, and then like it hits and you go work on your idea. So that's it. That's my full answer. Maybe a little deeper than the usual answers, but sometimes I don't know. Sometimes that's just the way I take things, all right? Anyway. This has been TYS Reads Poetry, just a little sideshow. I do part of our bigger show, Take Yourself Seriously, so check out that podcast. There's links all around.